Hello, I'm back showing more of my process for designing characters from my comic Swan Song. For anyone who hasn't seen my previous videos, I'm entering this comic in the Webtoon 2025 contest, and I've decided to share some of my process because I've seen other people doing that, and I need to promote my comic a bit so that people will read it, because I think we're almost at the first submission period now, and I'm gonna start posting it in probably a few days now. These guys that I'm drawing in this video are secondary characters, so I can talk about them a bit more without spoiling anything, unlike the main characters that I covered in the previous video. If you've ever seen Swan Lake, which I had to watch like 15 times as part of my research, you might notice that often characters are presented in sets of 4. This isn't true for every production, but it was enough of a pattern that I decided to structure my cast of side characters like this. There's the 4 little swans. There's also, in some productions, 4 princesses presented to Siegfried in the second act. So I have 4 main side characters in this story. From left to right, their names are Guinevere, Lucille, Everett, and Beatrice. But they all go by nicknames, so in the story you'll hear them referred to as Gwen, Lucy, Evie, and Trix. All with 4 letters, because I think I'm clever like that. I'll talk about Gwen first, since that's who I'm currently drawing. She owns a speakeasy where a lot of the story takes place, or I guess her family owns it, and she's just kind of the one that was left in charge. She's pretty overworked and has a short temper, but a lot of her harshness comes from a place of care for those she loves, particularly her little sister Lucy. I tried to incorporate her severity into the design by giving her sharp angles and intimidating height. I don't know if I can call her a mom friend exactly, because she can be kind of scary. But she's got a major oldest sibling complex, and is usually the one getting the other characters out of trouble. Unfortunately, she's not usually successful. She tries. She makes an effort, but, and this couldn't be more true with Lucy, who gets away with a lot under her sister's nose. Lucy learned pretty fast that she had to be sneaky to get what she wanted, and she got really good at it. She rarely talks, but she hears everything, and often uses her knowledge of other people's private affairs to her advantage. Evie works in forensics as an evidence technician, so probably not someone who should be hanging out in a speakeasy. There's honestly not much I can say about that. So, sorry, I lied about the lack of spoilers. Clearly there's still some spoilers to dodge. But finally, Trix is a musician. Despite her genuine talent, she often feels that she didn't deserve her success. But even with the imposter syndrome, she's still probably the most sane person here. These designs might end up being slightly different in the comic since I made them before I did any research. The one thing I'll definitely be keeping are the colors. You may have noticed that when all of my characters line up, they sort of make a rainbow, and I think that's neat. I didn't talk much about my actual drawing process in the last video, so I figured I'd do that here. I do my sketching with a brush I downloaded a while ago. I think it's called Wella's Sketch Brush. I just got it off the internet, and I think I got it for free, but I don't know if it's still available. And then I do line art with one of the pencil brushes on Procreate because I really like the kind of grainy texture. I also like to leave the lines kind of sketchy. I used to use much cleaner brushes, and the result was agonizing over getting every line perfect, and it was super frustrating. So I had to pivot because it was not a process that was working for me. Some people are really, really good at clean lines and cell shading. I am not one of those people. So I've drifted toward a messier, more painting adjacent style. Coloring method honestly varies depending on my mood. Sometimes I use the lasso tool to fill in the base skin color, and then I put all the other colors in a clipping mask on top of it. And then other times I treat my liner like it's a coloring book and just color everything in on separate layers. That method takes a lot longer, but it's more fun, honestly. After I have the base colors, I usually choose a color that's darker and warmer than the base to shade the skin, and same for the hair. and I just kind of put these in areas that I feel like there would be a shadow, and then I just like smudge it wherever I want. I use the same pencil brush for the smudging as I do for my line art because it also has that kind of grainy texture to it, and I think it makes it look more coherent. Yeah, that part's honestly just trial and error. I just smudge it wherever I feel like it. And yeah, once again, this is not a tutorial because clearly I have no clue what I'm talking about. These designs don't really have any examples of dramatic lighting because I was really just trying to get a base for each character. But when I am trying to do dramatic lighting, I make use of every type of overlay layer I can get my hands on. So I use like multiply layers for shadows, and often I'll just carve out the places where there aren't meant to be shadows, and then I use either an add or a color doge, I don't know what it's called. I use one of those overlay layers to add the lighting. Yeah, that's generally how I draw, I guess. As of recording this video, I've finished the first chapter of the comic. Hopefully by the time it goes up, I'll have finished more than that, because honestly, I'm a bit behind. I was hoping to have all 3 of the first episodes just ready to drop right when the submission period started, but it doesn't look like that's gonna happen. Luckily, though, the submission period is several months long, so I don't think it'll be that big of a deal, but I know the earlier I start submitting, the more likely it is that my comic will gain traction. It's very much my fault that it took so long, though, because the panel requirement is only 40 panels, and I have been doing a lot more than 40 panels. I sort of, I guess, underestimated how long my chapters would actually be when I was writing the script, because I wrote a pretty detailed script, and then now I'm confronting the fact that I have to draw a lot if I want to fulfill all the points I've laid out in that script. And the crazy thing is, I don't feel like I've even gotten to the interesting plot points yet. Like, I was cramming stuff in because I want it to be interesting enough to make people keep reading, and I still feel like I haven't gotten to the interesting parts within the first 3 chapters. So yeah, that might all be a me problem, but it's kind of too late to fix at this point. But I have been really proud of what I've created. I'm very happy with how it's turning out, and I'm really excited to share it. So thank you for watching. Yeah, you'll be seeing a lot more promotion from me. I can guarantee that. If you've listened to me ramble all the way to the end of this video, that's really impressive, and I applaud you, because I was struggling to listen to myself this long while editing, so you're stronger than I am. But yeah, thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day or night.